Our Lithuanian, Baltic, Astian culture is old, distinctive, and rich. From the ancients, we inherited not only an archaic language, customs, folklore, and songs, but also incomparable ornamentation. These signs and symbols of the past decorate a variety of objects in a language which has already become difficult for modern people to understand. There are many intangible, immaterial things in everything which surrounds us. When looking deeper, beyond the ordinary, everyday form, to the essence it covers and lies in, we see an inexhaustible depth in the pattern of an ancient fabric or drawing. In a dot, a wave, a wheel, a cross, is the language of our ancestors, in which they reveal to us the secret essence of being. We must admit that we probably have already lost the keys to the treasures of old knowledge, but something remains, like fragments of letters from the past. Mysterious signs are woven into a grandmother's tablecloth, the shimtarash, the woven sash, the picturesque drawings on clay pots and dowry cups, and the traditional patterns adorning Easter eggs, distaffs, or spindles. It is the signs, symbols, and ornaments that are the surviving language of our ancestors. These are their letters to us. Echoes of this sign language reach us through folklore, folk art, old songs, and archaeology. Therefore, in order to touch the subtle worldview of our ancestors and their concept of the world, let us notice, recognize, and try to understand these signs. A point is a beginning, all in one and nothing together. This is the primary action of God, the first manifestation, the impulse of light. Thanks to that flash of light, the beginning point of everything expanded. The universe was found. This is an obvious analogy between the point and the Big Bang metaphors. In physics, the Big Bang theory describes the moment of the beginning of the universe, during which both space and time appeared, and the matter that exists in them becomes familiar to us. In religions, this would be the Creator's decision, the let there be light moment. We can convey exactly the same thing in the language of symbols by marking a white, shining dot on a blank, black sheet. In the following way, we can create both a symbolic and a digital universe, from ones and zeros, and from dots and voids. Everything starts from the center, and everything returns to it. Symbolically, we would say it like this: everything comes from the point which is the smallest, not yet expanded circle, nor yet flashed lightning, nor yet forked cross. According to Valdis Selms, the symbolic middle of the circle, the center point, is particularly important. It is associated with the light, everything, and the void, nothing. Scientists who study subatomic particle physics understand and interpret the void similarly to the ancient folk wisdom. In the void lies the idea and the outline, the matrix of all that is possible. The point radiates linear masculine movement. Meanwhile, feminine movement is circular. The limitlessly spreading wheel of infinity and eternity is bound and brought into being by the first divine masculine action, the perpendicular crossing of the wheel. Infinity splits into opposites. The former continuous endless circle is cut into parts. It splits horizontally, and here you see the intersection of two lines, vertical and horizontal, becoming the circle of crosses. It is a prominent and recognizable symbol known to many ancient peoples. On one hand, it is the intersection of spirit and matter, heaven and earth, and the intersection of masculine and feminine origins. Activity and passivity, fire and water, cold and heat, are all opposites that negate each other, but at the same time complement each other. A cross in a circle, the division of the whole into 4 parts, represents and unfolds the idea of the quadripartite. Its resolution is the 4 directions: east, south, west, north. 4 dimensions: length, width, height, and duration. 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter. 4 parts of the day: morning, day, evening, and night. The 4 stages of human life: childhood, youth, maturity, old age, and so on. When the wheel starts rolling, when the cross moves, when it appears in its dynamic form, X, matter, nature, the whole creation manifests itself not only in space but also in time. The wheel turns, the parts of the day and the seasons change each other. Nature changes in its life cycles. Every year it takes root, sprouts, grows, leaves, blossoms, bears fruit, ripens, scatters seeds, forgets and comes to life again and again. It resolves every year in the same but ever-renewing wheel of life, the wheel of time. The rolling wheel of time is associated with the calendar, with the passage of time, its calculation, and its essential points. Our Baltic calendar is directly related to the life cycle of a plant. In the spring, the plant is sown and sprouts. In the summer it grows, blooms, bears fruit. In autumn it ripens and scatters the harvest. In winter it rests, sleeps, and dies. All this is reflected in the Baltic calendar, which depicts the most important points of the circle of being, known as Rėdos ratas, the most important annual holidays, the turning points of nature. The rhythm of nature is the change of the day and the seasons. The ancient customs of our nation are related to this breath of nature. The circle of life accommodated the cycles of each individual person, the cycles of the year and the day, as well as family and calendar holidays. By drawing a regular cross, the wheel of the year is divided into 4 parts by the spring and the autumn equinoxes and the winter and summer solstices. In the Baltic calendar, each season has its most important holiday, or cycle of holidays. In the middle of winter, at the lowest point of Rėdos ratas, we celebrate Kūčios and Kalėdos, Christmas Eve and Christmas. When the darkness and cold bind nature, when the night is the longest and the day is the shortest. But at the same time, it is also a fundamental turning point, the transformation from darkness to light, the return of the sun. Rolling up together with the sun, we welcome spring by crossing the equinox and celebrating Užgavėnes and Velykos, Mardi Gras and Easter, the victory of life, rebirth, and greening. Midsummer is marked by the summer solstice, the most important festival of the ancient Balts, Rasos or Kupolas, Midsummer Day, and Joninės, St. John's Day, a feast of flowering and the greatest fertility of nature, and at the same time, the dramatic transformation of nature from life to death, from growth and budding to wilting and withering. Having ripened and distributed the year's harvest, nature fades away in autumn, transforms again at the equinox, and together with the falling leaves descends in a circle down to Vėlinės or Ilgės, All Souls' Day, when we yearn and remember the dead. And down again into winter, into a new cycle of nature. Man is a connection between body and soul. He is both a biological and a spiritual being. However, our bodies are a part of nature. Therefore, it is understandable that the cycles of nature, its most important transformations, also shape the rhythm of human life. The life of the peasants of the old Lithuanian countryside used to trundle along with the circle of the year. Together with the vegetation and the whole nature, they joined the yearly cycle of annual holidays and work. The main transformations of every human being are birth, marriage, and death. The most important ancient Baltic individual and family celebrations are based on these fundamental existential events: births, weddings, and funerals. By birth and baptism, the newborn baby is welcomed and introduced into the human community. In a wedding, two people become spouses, a family, thanks to and through which new people come into the world, and because of this, the whole community, nation, and humanity has a future. At a funeral, the community says goodbye to a member and accompanies them on their journey to the beyond. When the wheel of life turns, a person's life begins. They are born or woken up in the morning. Accordingly, in the cycle of the year, nature awakens. The work of spring begins. At the top of the wheel, at the peak of life, human maturity, marriage, fertility. During the day, this would correspond with noon, the busiest and most active time. In nature, midsummer. Further on, the wheel of human life rolls westward. It is the evening, the assessment of the day's work, the sunset of a person's life, the forfeiture of life's earnings, the end, death, funeral. In the calendar, it is autumn, the assessment of the harvest. At the bottom of the circle, darkness, silence, cold, but also hope turning into light. For a human being, it is a mysterious other world, the interpretation of which depends on each individual's perspective, worldview, or religious affiliation. In nature, this mysterious white existence would be symbolized by midwinter, Christmas Eve miracles. A circle divided by a cross, symbolizing cyclical nature, and a circle divided by diagonals with a square inside, symbolic of the cycle of human life, rotate at different speeds around the same central point. It is like a mandala, in the center of which, at the intersection of the cross and the axis crossing space and time, in the spiritual vertical, a tree grows and spreads. The tree of the world, the tree of life, the tree of knowledge. This central point is the center of being and awareness, the point where spirit, or consciousness, intersects the plane of matter. In other words, what every conscious being perceives as this moment here and now, the movement of both wheels together around this center reveals how the cycles of man and nature are inseparable from each other. They are parts of the same process or perception. The tree, as the axis around which everything revolves, is one of the essential and literally axial symbols of the Baltic worldview. It is a mediator, an intermediary, a bridge, a connection between the past, present, and future. The tree of life grows both vertically, rises up and penetrates deep, and horizontally, spreads along the ground, branching out. Branches extending from the center of being to the past, to the left, symbolize a person's experience and genetic past, DNA, their kinship with their ancestors. It is the existential foundation, the roots, what brings a person to this moment. Branches stretching into the future, to the right of the center, symbolize the variety of opportunities that the present opens up, the branching. They are the consequences of the choices made by a person in the present. The horizontal plane of the tree of life reveals how the creative energy of the universe flows from the past to the future, shaping human identity. The vertical plane of the tree is the manifestation of consciousness, or spirit in the material world. The central point, the center of being here, also symbolizes the everyday, well-known problem-solving state of consciousness of an active mind. The roots of the tree, reaching downwards, symbolize the subconscious, the layer of dreams, mythical archetypes, inner psychological processes, and unconscious animal behavior. A person enters this state of consciousness every night while sleeping. The branches of the tree reaching upward represent the supermind, or the collective unconscious. These are external psychological processes affecting large groups of people, the experiential wisdom of all humanity. It is also a state of spiritual light, or heightened awareness. A person reaches it from time to time by accident, or consciously aiming for it. Human life is a continuous rise along the vertical axis of the tree of life, from darkness to light, from unconscious animal behavior to awareness, understanding, and clarity, to wisdom. The roots and branches of the tree stretch and penetrate in all directions, cross and intertwine, stretching into infinity. Life and consciousness spreads, grows. It is the web of the universe, the fabric of creation, the seamless fabric of being. This is the whole world, both earthly, that which is under the sun, and the spiritual and supernatural, heaven and earth connected. Here are the roots, penetrating deep and twisting underground, reaching for the water layer of life, drawing strength from the depths, the past, the ancestors, from underground mysteries, and even death, as only a dead grain bursts forth into a living sprout. Here are the branches reaching into the future, embracing the earth and reaching up to the sky, with foliage, blossoms, fruit, spirit birds at the top, towards the celestial or guiding stars, the victory of light over darkness, attainment of a higher self. Of course, symbols are of different importance, of different levels of impact. According to Danius Rasauskas, some are like moss or grass, which we walk every day without even noticing. Others are like trees, by which we orient ourselves in the forest, and whose tops we do not always see even after stretching our necks. These are the most important symbols, ideological, religious, national. This time we introduced you to the most important symbols in the Baltic world, and the closest to Lithuanian self-consciousness, the wheel and the tree. The multifaceted and wide-ranging concepts of the wheel of being and the tree of life are interconnected and interact with each other. All is related, all arises and emanates from the same source of being, and all ultimately returns to it. We, humans, rotate together with the cycles of nature and our own life, and together we recognize our spiritual center, the heart of being. We grow our inner core, access. We reach up, we grow as a tree connecting the past, present, and future, the underworld, the earth, and sky. We direct ourselves towards that light which was in the beginning, which is also the eternal infinity of the end.